Hi everyone, I'm Mrs. DeForce and join me in unlocking the secret of life. Welcome to this exciting journey into the world of protists, a remarkable group of microorganisms that form a bridge between the worlds of bacteria and complex multicellular organisms. Protists are a diverse group of eukaryotic microorganisms that don't fit neatly into the categories of plants, animals, or fungi. They exhibit a wide range of characteristics, behaviors, and ecological roles. Protists are classified into multiple groups based on their characteristics and evolutionary relationships. We'll explore the main groups, including plant-like, animal-like, and fungus-like protists. Plant-like protists, or algae, are photosynthetic organisms that produce oxygen and serve as the foundation of aquatic food chains. Examples include diatoms, green algae, and red algae. Fungus-like protists share characteristics with both fungi and protozoa. They include slime molds and water molds, which play essential roles in decomposition and nutrient cycling. If we're looking at plant-like protists, like algae, their cell type are typically unicellular or multicellular eukaryotic organisms, meaning they have a true nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. Many plant-like protists have a cell wall made of cellulose, similar to plant cells. And most of these protists contain chloroplasts, which contain the pigments like chlorophyll for photosynthesis. In the animal-like protists, also known as protozoa, the protists are unicellular eukaryotes. They typically lack a cell wall, which allows for more flexibility and motility. Protozoa come in various shapes, such as amoeboid, meaning shape-shifting, ciliated with hair-like structures called cilia, and flagellated with whip-like flagella. Within the fungus-like protists are typically eukaryotic, but their cell structure can resemble both fungi and protozoa. They are often multicellular and form structures that resemble fungal mycelia. Like fungi, they may have cell walls made of cellulose or other kinds of materials. Plant-like protists are primarily autotrophic, meaning they produce their own food through photosynthesis. They contain chloroplasts with pigments like chlorophyll, allowing them to capture light energy for photosynthesis. Some can also be mixotrophic, combining autotrophic and heterotrophic nutrition. Most plant-like protists are non-motile, meaning they are stationary and do not exhibit active movement. Some flagellated or ciliated species may exhibit limited passive movement in water currents. The plant-like protists reproduce both asexually and sexually. An asexual reproduction method includes binary fission, fragmentation, and the formation of specialized reproductive cells or structures. Sexual reproduction involves the fusion of specialized reproductive cells such as gametes. Animal-like protists are heterotrophic, meaning they must obtain their nutrition by ingesting organic matter or other organisms. They can be predators, parasites, or feed on organic particles and detritus. Animal-like protists exhibit diverse modes of locomotion, including movement through pseudopodia, which is temporary extensions of the cell membrane for crawling and engulfing prey. They can be propelled by numerous hair-like cilia covering their surface, or they can use whip-like flagella for swimming or movement. Some species glide on surfaces. Their movement can be directed towards or away from stimuli, such as light or chemicals. Protozoa reproduce asexually through methods like binary fission, budding, or schizogony, which means multiple fission. Sexual reproduction, involving the fusion of specialized reproductive cells called gametes, occurs in a select group. Lastly, we have the fungus-like protists. They can exhibit diverse nutritional strategies. Some are saprophytic, feeding on decaying organic matter. Others are parasitic, infecting other organisms such as plants, animals, or even other protists. The fungus-like protists are typically non-motile. They don't exhibit active movement like animal-like protists. The reproduction of the fungus-like protists can involve the formation of spores. Spores are released and dispersed to new environments where they can develop into new organisms. Some fungus-like protists have complex life cycles with both sexual and asexual stages. Let's look at a few examples, starting with plant-like protists. Helpful examples include diatoms. Diatoms are unicellular or colonial algae with a unique cell wall made of silica. Diatoms are critical to aquatic ecosystems as primary producers. They contribute significantly to oxygen production and are the base of many aquatic food chains. Additionally, diatomaceous earth, a fossilized form of diatoms, is used in various industrial applications, including filtration, pest control, and abrasives. We also find harmful examples, like the dinoflagellates. Dinoflagellates are single-celled protists with two flagella and a distinctive shape. Some species of dinoflagellates can cause harmful algal blooms known as red tides. These blooms can produce toxins that harm marine life and pose a health risk to humans who consume the contaminated seafood. Some dinoflagellate toxins can lead to paralytic shellfish poisoning and other illnesses. Under the animal-like protists, also known as protozoa, we can look at paramecium. Paramecia are ciliated protozoa with a slipper-like shape. Paramecia are commonly used in laboratory settings for research and educational purposes. They serve as a model organism for studying cell biology and genetics, contributing to our understanding of eukaryotic cell functions. We also get a few harmful examples, including Plasmodium. Plasmodium is a genus of parasitic protozoa responsible for causing malaria in humans. Malaria is a deadly disease that affects millions of people worldwide, leading to severe illness and death. Plasmodium parasites are transmitted to humans through the bite of infected Anopheles mosquitoes. The last group of protists we're looking at is the fungus-like protists. Under the helpful examples, we find slime molds, Mycetozoa. Slime molds are protists that can form multicellular amoeba-like structures. The slime molds plays a role in decomposing organic matter in forest ecosystems. They're also studied for their unique life cycle and developmental processes, contributing to our understanding of cellular behavior. But harmful examples can also be found. Phytophthora is an oomycete protist that causes late blight in potatoes and tomatoes. This protist is responsible for the Irish potato famine in the 1840s, which led to widespread crop failure and famine. Late blight remains a significant agricultural threat today, causing substantial crop losses. Want to dive deeper into life sciences? Check out more of our videos. Don't stop learning now. Explore more videos and download our worksheets for a complete learning experience. Links will be found below.